It's Final Friday.
Your first break is in the category Someone Who Makes You Think. And you said Scott Galloway, who is your co-host on Pivot.
I can't believe I said that.
He teaches marketing at NYU, and he's written 3 books, most recently called Post-Corona, and he's on Twitter at Prof. Galloway.
Yeah.
So tell a story of how you and Scott first met. I think it was at a conference in Europe.
You know, it's really interesting. This week, we talked about having my new child coming, and he immediately tried to claim paternity, which was totally offensive, and made a series of horrible jokes about lesbians.
Sounds
so
right.
I can't believe I picked him. But here's why I like dealing with him, and then I'll tell you how we met. It's very hard today to disagree with people who you don't agree with, right? It's very hard to have disagreements. And I think what's very powerful about that show is, I mean, it's sort of a bit of a, he's sort of this slightly unwoke man who says stupid things, and I'm a San Francisco lesbian who hits him on the head with a stick. And
Metaphorically.
It's very enjoyable for people to watch that. And it's not a formula precisely because we have such chemistry. But one of the things that's great, we had a big disagreement this week on something, and we can do it in a civil way where we don't come to agreement necessarily, but we hear each other. And so often I'm like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. Damn, he has a point. And I think people are dying for that in this incredibly partisan time. I mean, it's very hard to reach out to people you disagree with. And you seem to leave a lot of people behind. And I think that plays into all the malevolent people who are trying to take us apart. And so I think one of the things that's great about the show is it shows a lot of commonality. And we have a point of view. And I think we are funny and stuff like that. And we met because, speaking of Elon Musk, he gave a presentation, Scott, at DLD in Germany, and he made me laugh. And he made, I don't mean to say this lightly, but people are not that interesting. Like, they don't say things that surprise me a lot. I'm always like, oh yeah, of course they said that. And he said at least 6 things that I was like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. It was unusual because I talked to everybody. And so I introduced myself to him, and then I, oddly enough, invited him on the podcast. And we had a discussion, and it was very funny from the start. And he predicted the Amazon buying Whole Foods on the show, which was a big deal. It was a really great prediction.
This is months before it happened. He was just an out-of-the-blue prediction. Yeah,
completely. He's like this obnoxious oracle that you just hit on the head and something really smart comes out. And I hit him on the head and something smart came out. And I was looking at the numbers for the show, and they were close to Elon Musk levels. And I was like, that's interesting. Who knows who this guy is? Because he wasn't as well known as he is now. And so I found that intriguing, and I liked it. I liked the show. And so I had him on again, and it happened again. The numbers were fascinating. And what was really interesting, the last part, is when I started to go out, people would call at me across the street, how's that asshole Scott? I'm like, I liked when you did this. People felt, the fans got very interested in us as a couple, I guess. Although, let's keep that loose.
I'm sure Scott would say something different.
Yeah, no, he's funny. We talk a lot, actually. And it was a really good partnership, just like mine with Walt Mossberg, who is so different than Scott. I can't even believe it. Walt is, I wanted to have Howard Stern at Code, and he wouldn't let me. He's like, he's offensive to women and lesbian and gay people. I'm like, so what? And Walt was, he was sort of the ultimate liberal who really cared about people and their feelings. It was interesting. And Scott, of course, would have Howard Stern on any time and appear naked.
I think he did like an ad for a TV show.
Yes, that was unfortunate.
Shirtless.
He is not doing that TV show now.
Because of the ad.
Yes, apparently he made some people feel unsafe. I just think he's an idiot. So it's interesting. So anyway, after that, I said we should do a show, and it's worked out really well. We're doing we're going to Miami to do an event called PivotCon.
That's brave.
Yeah, well, not today. We're going to wait until I don't know. We'll see what happens there. I think it's not till next year, so I think the dulcet effects of Ron DeSantis might be less so. I went to his house in Miami. We had a great time. He's a very different person off stage. He's he plays a character.
I was going to ask, your relationship on Pivot, you are, as you said, very civil, very respectful, but you're also combative at times.
Yeah.
Do you ever, Are you ever playing that up, or is it really just an honest representation of how differently you feel?
It is. I think, yeah, we do. We really do, and it's really people like it. It's fascinating. Podcast listeners become involved in your lives, you know, and they like your dynamic. That's why it is really about the podcasters and how they interact in a lot of ways, because there's a lot of podcasts like this. It's growing like crazy during the pandemic,
right? And
a lot of podcasts didn't. It's tripled in size, and you know, it just happens all the time. Fans really like it. Either they root for him, or they root for me, or whatever. But he lives a fancier life than I do. He was getting on a helicopter with a blade to go out to the Hamptons, and the guy who was doing this goes, "Where's Kara?" to him. And he was like, what?
Well, okay, so on the topic of stuff where you disagree.
Yeah.
What is something with Scott Galloway where you absolutely agree with him 100%, and something where you absolutely disagree, could not see eye to eye with him?
I think he's obsessed with cancel culture because he's scared he's going to be canceled. I consider it consequence culture. I think if you do a shitty thing, you should pay for it. I'm sorry. I think a lot of people are taking this stance that they can't say things. It's all bullshit. You know, it's so funny. I was trying to get Josh Hawley to come on Sway, and he's a very smart guy. Let me just say, he's not. It's easy to dismiss him, well, because he's somewhat of a fascist, but but he was bygones, right? No bygones. But he was, you know, he's always like, you know, I've been censored, I've been this, I've been that. Same thing with that idiot Marjorie Taylor Greene. She never shuts the fuck up, right? So you're like, you have all these ways to communicate, including being a congressperson, and you act as if this is a crisis. It's not a crisis for your communication. You just, you know, this week we had that disagreement where he said, well, people can't say what they want. I said, maybe people shouldn't say some things. You know what I mean? It's about decency. And maybe people have had enough of listening to all the crap that comes out of your mouth, you know?
Did you see that headline that The Guardian had? I think it was something like, Johnny Depp warns about dangers of cancel culture while accepting Lifetime Achievement Award.
Whatever. It's just, they never shut up. And then they have no evidence. There's no evidence. Right. I'm tough on tech companies, but this is not something they're doing.
Right.
They're doing not enough of it, I guess. Some people think. So I think he's wrong about that. You know, he's like, students at universities, I don't know. It's not like our world's biggest problem, honestly. You look around, we have homelessness, we've got poverty, we've got healthcare issues, and this is all these incredibly wealthy, privileged people can talk about. They don't get to say whatever they want. I don't get it. It's
and then what about something where you agree? Like, is there something that Scott Galloway has said in conversation with you that changed your mind, that really made you go like, oh, he's exactly right, and I never considered it that way?
A lot of things, actually. At first, I wasn't... what has he changed my mind on? As we talk about so many different things. Yeah. He's a little, if you can believe it, tougher on Facebook than I am. I think these people are sort of sloppily malignant or malignantly sloppy. I can't decide. And sometimes they just don't, they're so sloppy as people, and they're interested in is growth. He thinks they're criminal. I don't think they are. He tends to blame Sheryl Sandberg more than I do. I think the buck stops at Mark Zuckerberg. I understand she's an enabler of this. I understand she went along, but he is the unqualified. He cannot be fired. He's in complete control of the company. She's an employee, and no matter what, the buck stops with him.
Yeah, I mean, you've been...
He seems to go after her. I think it's a little... I see why, and I agree on some of the culpability, but on some level, why, you know, he didn't know. I was like, give me a break. He's not 12. He has 3 children or 2 children who he's named after various Roman emperors. No joke, he has. And he should take responsibility.
Definitely. All right, well, that was Scott Galloway, who's on Twitter at Prof. Galloway.
Yeah, be careful with that one.